Welcome to DEF CON 3. I'm KT McFarland. In the last year, there have been enormous changes in Egypt and Egypt's economy, politics, military situation. Here to discuss is Hisham Fahmy. He's with the American Chamber of Commerce in Egypt, although he's right now joining us from Washington, D.C. Thanks so much for joining us. I wanted to ask you, Hisham, what's happened in Egypt? It looks like the economy's improving, a number of new initiatives have happened. You've had a big economic conference, and you're increasing the capacity of the Suez Canal. Why don't you give us a report card?
Well, I think thank you first, Katie, for having me. The Egyptian economy definitely is on an upward trend. We've seen a lot of initiatives and a lot of projects that are coming online in the near future, and that's all positive. We've had a lot of laws that are making business more friendly for investors and for Egyptian investors and multinational investors. So we're really looking forward to a resurgence of Egypt as an economic power in the region.
Talk to me about energy. There have been recent discoveries in Egypt of oil and natural gas. What's the story?
Well, we've had quite an energy crisis recently because there has been really no investment in new energy sources in the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. But suddenly a lot of impetus has been happening, a lot of investment in energy, gas and power stations and so on. I think these will help to put Egypt back and attract more investment to Egypt.
And what areas is Egypt hoping to have economic growth in?
I think really in all areas. We're beginning to do a lot of infrastructure projects, roads, ports, bridges, housing, real estate. Real estate is a huge market in Egypt where 90 million people, many of them still looking for the right real estate. So there is a lot of projects that can help Egypt grow and also alleviate the endemic unemployment that we have. And I think it's very important to do all these infrastructure projects that will also attract investment to Egypt.
You know, even though we have all read about the successes of the Egyptian economy in the last year, there are also currently reports that some of the endemic corruption that has plagued Egypt for decades is making its way back. Do you have any comment?
I don't think it's making its way back. I mean, there has been a lot of corruption for a long time in many countries, including Egypt. But I think the good news is that the government is taking serious steps to address corruption in many ways, not just enforcement or regulations and so on, but doing a lot of transparency, using technology. All these things will have quite an effect on not eliminating, but reducing corruption.
Let's switch gears to the security situation. The Sinai Peninsula, we've seen attacks, Islamic radical groups, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, on Egypt's western border in Libya. How do you view the security situation?
Well, the security situation is of real concern. Especially, as you said, in the Sinai and from the Libyan border. I think not enough attention is being taken to the Libyan situation. It must be addressed. We're very vulnerable to that in Egypt. It's a huge border, it's a porous border, and the situation in Libya doesn't look as if it's getting any better soon. In Sinai, of course, there was a porous border to Gaza and all the tunnels. That's being addressed as we speak, and a lot of success has happened there. So I think the security situation will remain a concern for a while, but I think there is so much that is being done. I think that will be alleviated soon.
When I was in Egypt several months ago, the talk was of a joint Arab force, that Egypt was joining with Jordan, with Saudi Arabia, with some of the Gulf Arabs, to create a force that would go after radical Islam, whether it was in the Levant or even in the Arabian Peninsula. What's the status?
Well, I think all the, so to speak, Joint Chiefs of Staff have been getting together and planning this. I think this is a very important move spearheaded by Egypt. It is needed, as you see, all around the region, radicalization and huge terrorism issues are looming, and I think the moderate countries getting together is a plus and must work together. It's not just that the United States has to take care of all these, but the Arab countries and the moderate Arab countries have to take care of themselves.
How do the moderate Arab countries look at Iran and the agreement, the pending agreement between the United States and Iran over sanctions as well as the Iranian nuclear program?
Well, I think the Iran issue is worrisome to many Arab countries. We still look at that anything that is done peacefully is much better than anything that will cause warfare or more disruptions. It's the last thing we need is another war in the Middle East. But again, I think it must be clear to Iran that if there is a deal, then it must stop its interference in many of the Arab world.
Thank you so much for joining us and shedding some light on the situation in the Middle East. That's Hisham Fahmy. He's with the American Chamber of Commerce in Egypt. That's it for DEF CON 3. Thanks for watching.